Thanks for stopping by. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a comment, and please think about subscribing. And hey, remember, watching just 30 seconds of an ad helps us creators more than you know. You're awesome. Have an amazing day. Let's begin.
User, Sucker for Velvet. I 28F, used to have a sugar daddy in college. Years later, I found out he was my fiancé's father. Let's rewind. Because honestly, even I wouldn't believe me if I hadn't lived it. I was 20, a broke junior with 2 part-time jobs, a roommate who snored like a freight train, and a bank account that hadn't seen 3 digits since orientation week. Emotionally? I was toast. Socially? I was holding on by a thread of late-night pizza and caffeine. Financially? Let's not even go there. I was studying business, not because I loved it, but because it felt like survival. I'd grown up in a tiny Oklahoma town where networking meant chatting with the cashier at Walmart. I wanted more. I needed more. Then I started hearing whispers. Late-night dorm chats. Communal bathroom gossip. Girls casually mentioning sugar daddies while curling their hair and passing lip gloss. At first, I thought it was a joke. Rich older guys sending you money just to hang out? Take you shopping? Pay for your rent? It sounded like something out of a bad soap opera. But the whispers didn't go away. And one night, after a double shift and a stack of unpaid bills, I gave in. I set up an account on one of the more popular sugar baby sites I had heard about. I didn't use my real name, of course. I took a blurry selfie with soft lighting and wrote the most cringe but honest bio possible. It read: ambitious, curious, business major. Let's talk money and mentorship. The first week was straight out of a horror story. One guy wanted me to dress like a cat and clean his apartment on all fours. Another offered to pay me in Bitcoin once the moon rises, whatever the heck that meant. I almost deleted the app, but then I saw him. Username, Fury. I rolled my eyes. Okay, Mortal Kombat. But something about his photo made me stop. He wasn't shirtless. He wasn't licking his lips. He looked stopwatch 500, real. A navy suit. Salt and pepper hair. Steel gray eyes that didn't leer, they observed. His bio? Short. Controlled. It read: finance. Discreet. Seeking connection. I sent a cheeky message. Your name's intense. Should I be worried? An hour later, he responded. You should see me on market days. Fury fits. I laughed, actually laughed. And that laugh was the beginning of something I didn't understand yet. We messaged for days. Then weeks. He asked smart questions. Recommended business books. Sent links to TED Talks. He never asked for photos, never pushed. He was just stopwatch 500, there. Steady. Unshakable. Eventually, he asked for my number. I hesitated, but gave it to him. His voice was deep, like velvet and expensive whiskey. I used to imagine him as the narrator of a finance documentary. He flew in a month later for a meeting. Dinner? He asked. Just dinner. You have my word. The restaurant we met at was the kind of place that doesn't have prices on the menu. I wore my only nice dress. He greeted me like a colleague. Like an equal. At this dinner I finally told him my real name. Emma. We talked. We laughed. He paid. And later that night, I saw a deposit in my account. No strings, just respect. That was the start. For 2 years, Fury was a constant in my chaotic world. He flew in every few weeks. We'd get dinner, see exhibits, and take walks. He never crossed a line. Spring of my senior year, he called and said he was thinking of buying property near campus. He sent me a simple text. Just browsing some real estate. Thought of you. We spent the whole day together. Art galleries. Brunch. A walk through a neighborhood where the mailboxes cost more than my tuition. That night, in his hotel suite, we talked for hours. After a few mixed drinks from his mini bar, we kissed. I don't know who initiated it. I think we leaned in together. It wasn't transactional. It wasn't cold. It was electric. Familiar. Charged. That night, we slept together. The next morning, he kissed my hand and said, "Go build an empire." We both knew it was the finale. I could feel it in my bones before he arrived. I nodded robotically. Tears filled my eyes. I turned and left before I could embarrass myself. A final payment hit my account. It felt weird. Like he was closing a tab. I deleted the app that day. Fast forward 3 years. I'd built that empire, or at least, the foundation. I graduated with honors, climbed the banking ladder, and became the youngest senior banking officer in my branch. Enter Jeff. We met at a finance conference, fighting over the last coffee. He cracked a lame joke. I rolled my eyes. We started talking and didn't stop. He was bright. Passionate. Normal. A man who held doors open, remembered your coffee order, and talked about joint Roth IRAs like it was pillow talk. 9 months in, he proposed. I said yes without a second thought. We moved in together and started planning a wedding. There was just one weird thing. We hadn't met each other's families. My parents travel a lot, Jeff said. They're intense. Mine were back in Oklahoma. Complicated. We left it at that. Until one day, he said, "They want to meet you." The night of the meeting. I was so nervous. It took me hours to get dressed, trying to decide on the perfect outfit. Next, I felt nauseous and thought there was no way I could go with the way I was feeling. Jeff just chuckled. He pulled me into a hug. "Stop worrying so much. They're going to love you, just like me." His words did the trick. I nodded and said I was ready, and soon we were out the door. After driving for about 45 minutes, eventually, we pulled up to a massive gated mansion. The kind of house that had full-time staff. A housekeeper greeted us at the door and let us in. My heels clicked against marble. I felt completely out of place. Jeff squeezed my hand encouragingly. I smiled, but it immediately faltered when I heard a voice coming from up ahead. A familiar, deep, velvety voice. No. It couldn't be. Could it? I stopped breathing. "You okay?" Jeff asked. "Yeah. Just errant thoughts." I stuttered. We entered the dining room. And there he was. Fury. At the head of the table, wine glass in hand, smile sharp as ever. He saw me. I saw him. A flicker of recognition. A blink. Then nothing. Introductions began. "Mom, Dad, this is Emma. Emma, this is my mother Lorraine." He guided me over to a stunning woman with platinum blonde hair and green eyes. I managed to smile politely. "Nice to meet you," I whispered. "And this?" He led me over to the head of the table. "This is my dad," Jeff said proudly. Fury. The room spun. I managed to reply kindly and shake his hand. The moment our skin met, a zing of electricity licked up my entire arm. From the look on his face, I know Fury felt it too. "Nice to finally meet you, Emma." Dinner was a surreal fever dream. Jeff beamed beside me while I made polite conversation with the man who once whispered my name in bed. Fury never broke. He just smiled. Asked about my job. Dropped hints like landmines. "I used to mentor young professionals," he said, eyes never leaving mine. Jeff's mom, on the other hand, was all tight smiles and polite venom. "What does your family do?" she asked, sipping her Chardonnay. "My mom's a nurse." Was her only response. Dismissive and cold. The car ride home was quiet. Jeff squeezed my hand on the armrest. "I think they liked you." I laughed. "Yeah, sure." That night, my phone buzzed. Unknown number, The message was only 3 words. Don't tell him. I stared at the screen. It had to be Fury. I didn't respond. A few days later, another text. We can handle this privately. Don't destroy him to ease your guilt. I wanted to throw up. I tried to forget. Tried to imagine a life where the secret stayed buried. But I couldn't. Every time Jeff kissed my forehead or called me his girl, it burned. I was lying to him. Living a lie. If he ever found out from someone else. No. It had to come from me. Days went by, and I went back and forth with my decision. Jeff noticed the sudden change in my mood. He would look at me concerned, asking if I was okay. I would always lie and assure him that everything was good. But when my indecision bled its way into my work, I knew I had to make up my mind about it soon. I began to become distracted by my thoughts, and it caused minor errors in my work. My boss pulled me aside and asked if I was sick and that maybe I should take a couple days off to recover. I took her up on her offer, feigning a slight head cold. I would need a couple of days off for what I was about to do. I decided I couldn't live with it. The truth needed to come out. It's not in my character to lie, not even by omission. I'm a very upfront person. I wear my heart on my sleeve and lay all my cards on the table. I decided the best tactic was to gather everyone and tell them all at once. I invited them all to dinner. Jeff, Lorraine, and Fury. I made a reservation at a nice restaurant downtown. I arrived before everyone and looked around the bistro. The lights were dim, and there weren't many patrons. Perfect. The hostess led me to a large table in the back, and I waited for everyone to arrive. I stood when they walked in. What's this about? Lorraine asked. No pleasantries, she just looked annoyed that I would interrupt her night. I didn't answer her right away. I waited for everyone to be seated. Jeff came over and kissed my cheek. I held back the urge to move away. Intimacy felt awkward at the moment. Once everyone was settled, I took a deep breath and began. Straight, no chaser. I need to tell you something. Jeff frowned. Emma, is everything okay? I looked over at him and shook my head softly. I met your father years ago. Long before I met you. I saw Fury tense out of my peripheral. I continued. We were involved. Intimately. Silence. An uncomfortable heavy silence. Lorraine's mouth dropped open. Fury closed his eyes. What the hell does that mean? Jeff asked. I didn't know who he was. I swear. I was in college. I was struggling. I signed up for this site. An escort site? Lorraine interrupted. She looked from me and Fury in disgust. No, I corrected her. It was more like companionship. Lorraine scoffed. It sounds like the same thing to me, just a prettier name, considering you slept with my husband. Her voice was getting louder. Some of the staff started to glance our way. Emma. Jeff's face had gone pale. My name sounded like a sad plea. I never meant to deceive you, Jeff. I deleted the app the day after. Things ended. I didn't even think of him until I saw him at dinner. Fury finally spoke. It was before you two met. We had no idea. Jeff suddenly scooted away from the table. Stop. Just stop. This is insane. His eyes found mine. Did you love him? What? No. But I didn't hate him, either. My words hung in the air. I won't hear any more of this. Lorraine furiously gathered her things. She glared at Fury and spat. I guess your young whore fetish was never completely out of your system like you said. I flinched at her harsh words. She then turned on her heels and stormed out. Fury looked at me as if he wanted to, I don't really know, maybe apologize or chastise me, but in the end, he chose to say nothing. He sighed deeply, got up, and followed Lorraine out the restaurant. And then there were two. I reached out for Jeff's hand, but he snatched it away. How many times did you two? He let his words trail off. Only once, I whispered, looking down at the table. The pain I saw in his eyes was too much to bear. Did he pay you for it? No, it wasn't like that. Right. That's all I needed to know. Jeff rose from his chair. I looked up to meet his eyes. It was like looking at a stranger. There was none of the usual warmth or light. He reached in his wallet and dropped some money on the table, presumably for the drinks we all ordered. He too then left the restaurant. I didn't follow. I sat there for at least an hour. The staff periodically checked in on me, asking if I needed anything. But there's no way I could eat. Eventually, I got the strength to get up and leave. That night, Jeff didn't come home. I cried for what felt like hours. For the girl I used to be. For the man I wanted to marry. For the father he could never unsee the same way. Jeff eventually texted. I need time. It's been months. I moved out of our apartment to an extended stay hotel. I'm back in therapy. Focusing on work. I haven't heard from Fury. Lorraine sent me a box of my things with a note that just said, "Be glad it ended now." And maybe I am. But some nights, I lie awake and wonder. If I hadn't signed up that night. If I hadn't said yes to dinner. If I hadn't answered that message. Would we still be planning a wedding right now? Update, 8 months later. Hey everyone. It's been a whirlwind, and I've been sitting on this for a while, unsure how to even begin. But if you read my original post, you'll know that my life was already a tangled mess of betrayal, heartbreak, and trying to force a fairy tale ending out of something that was always doomed to fail. Jeff and I didn't work out. I think part of me knew we wouldn't. It's like I was chasing this idea of normal, of safety, of starting fresh with someone stable. Someone who wasn't chaos personified like Fury. Jeff was gentle, dependable, kind, but something was always missing. I tried to ignore it, but eventually, it was too loud to pretend otherwise. Our conversations were often flat. Intimacy had always felt like an obligation. Every time I looked at him, I kept waiting to feel something more. But it never came. So I gave the ring back. He cried. I did too. He didn't do anything wrong. He just wasn't who I wanted. And the worst part? I don't think I was ever really in love with him. I think I was in love with the idea of what he represented. Something safe. Don't get me wrong. I did have feelings for him. Jeff is an amazing man, but it wasn't enough to motivate me to fight for our relationship. But now I wonder, was I ever over Fury at all? Or did I gravitate toward Jeff because, in some ways, he reminded me of him? The smirk. The way he moved. The protective streak. It's like my subconscious was trying to recreate a version of Fury I could actually bring home to my mother. And here's where things get even more messy. Fury and Lorraine split up. I didn't ask for details. Fury didn't offer any. He just showed up one night, not physically, just a message. Simple. Careful. Hey. Just checking in. Hope you're okay. That's it. That's how it started. We kept it light at first. Little check-ins. Catching up. He mentioned missing the way we used to laugh, and I told myself it was nostalgia talking. But it crept in, slowly. Inside jokes. Old photos. One night, I was crying over everything. Jeff, my life, the crushing disappointment of it all, and Fury called me. I let him. I shouldn't have, but I did. The second I heard Fury's voice, it was like my ribs cracked open. I told myself we could just be friends again. That we owed each other that much. And for a while, that's what we pretended to be. But nothing about us has ever been innocent. It didn't take long before late-night texts turned into late-night visits. And now? We're in a full-blown affair. I know how that sounds. Trust me, I know. I'm not proud of it. But I can't pretend I don't have feelings for Fury. It's not some hyper-romanticized baby daddy fantasy. This is complicated. Messy. Intense. And yes, wrong. But it's real. We've always had this gravitational pull. Ugly, strong, impossible to escape. And now that we're back in each other's orbit, I don't know how to leave again. He's not perfect. I'm not naive. But when he looks at me now, I see regret, growth, pain, desire. All of it. Sometimes, I ask myself, was there ever a version of me that truly stopped having feelings for him? Or was I just trying to bury it under everything that happened afterwards? I don't have the answers. All I know is that I'm not ready to let go of him again. Not yet. Yes, it's reckless. Yes, it's dangerous. But it's ours. And I need to be strong for whatever comes next. But this time around, I'm not running. I'm a grown woman. I will be upfront with what I expect from him. No more blurred lines. I'm taking what I want. And maybe without those ridiculous sugar baby and sugar daddy titles, we can start something real.